Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. We're going to find out about the granting process with the Community Foundation of Dubois County. And joining me as a guest is the Program Associate for the Dubois County Community Foundation, and that is Susan McGovren. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'm glad to be here.
I think first of all, let's find out, what is a Program Associate?
As Program Associate, my main area is to make sure the grant dollars get into the hands of our nonprofits in Dubois County. And one of the ways that we do that is during our competitive grant cycle, which we're in right now. We have funding from 50 community endowments. Those are from 35 endowments that were started by families and individuals, and 15 by companies and corporations. So the dollars from those endowments is what funds this competitive grant cycle.
Okay, and you've been with the Community Foundation for how long?
I've been with I started actually as a volunteer. I'm a retired teacher from 10th Street Elementary School. I taught third grade for 34 years. And after retiring, I was looking for places to volunteer, and I did volunteer at the foundation. Now I've been employed there as a part-time employee for 3 years.
Okay, so you know the granting process pretty good then.
I do, and it's exciting, and I love that part of my job, to see how we help all of the nonprofits in the county.
Okay, now let's talk about what the granting process is. How does that work?
Okay.
First of all, maybe we ought to really define what a grant is, because people may not really fully understand what a grant is.
Okay. Well, a grant then is funding that's given to our nonprofits, and the grants come about in many different ways. The way that we're talking about today is the competitive grant cycle, and that is that groups put in an application. They have a project that they need some funding for. So we are in the middle of that now, and we had a lot of changes in that process this year. And because of those changes, we had a grant workshop in May to explain to our nonprofits how it was going to work this year. Okay. And the main difference is that our process this year is a two-step process. The nonprofits put in a preliminary application. It was an online application due July 1st, so that now is closed. We did have 34 applicants to put in wonderful proposals for projects that they want to follow up for their different organizations. Of those 34 projects now, they are in the hands of our grants committee, 7-member grants committee, and they're trying to discern which of these proposals will make the biggest impact on Dubois County. And then some of those 34 applicants will be asked to put in more information about their projects.
Okay, and when it's a grant, it's not something that has to be paid back.
No,
this
it's
is
not
money
paid
to go
back.
and do
That's
the projects you need to do.
That's right.
And is this competitive grant that you're doing is for nonprofits only?
It is for nonprofits only, and the reason it is competitive is that we have $90,000 to spread. Okay. But on our preliminary proposals, they were asking for $230,000. So you can see that it is competitive and that there's not enough money to go around. So we do try to choose the projects that we think will make the biggest difference.
And just because a project isn't chosen doesn't necessarily mean you can't reapply
at another time. Very good question. Some of them will not be granted this year, but they can reapply next year or look for other sources of funding.
Okay. Do they need to do matching, or is some of this just flat-out grants?
It's flat-out grants.
Okay, so that's a great way to go for nonprofit organizations.
It is.
How are you able to track the number of organizations that you help?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the history of the Community Foundation, we have helped 133 different nonprofits in the county, and they have received a lot of money over the years to help in their projects. And we project in the next 10 years in this competitive grant cycle, we're going to grant $1 million.
Wow.
I know, it's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. Now, do you have more applicants this year than you've had the years past? Is it something that people are learning about?
I would say there's a few more this year. This year we have 34. Last year I believe we had 26. So it is on the rise a little bit as people are aware of us, and also as organizations need more funding. As their funding is cut from other sources, they're looking for new ways to get funding.
How many times is there a granting process in a year through the foundation?
There's only one of the competitive grant cycle in a year. Then we have other grants that come out the door. We have designated grants where the fund founders set a certain nonprofit to receive the grant dollars. Those have already been granted for the year. This year in 2013, $420,000 will go out the door to our local nonprofits.
And what people have to understand is that's not money that comes from the government. That is not any kind of tax. Has nothing to do with that. This is money that people have given to the Community Foundation or through an estate willed it
Right.
to the Community Foundation?
They have set up an endowment, and then through investments, the investments have grown, and then part of that growth then is granted back into the community.
So you're the one that gets to hand out the money, which is great.
It's so much fun to see the money go out the door and what it does for the different groups in the county.
But it is important that people continue to fund the Community Foundation so you can do the work that you do.
That's right. It is a cycle. So as we grant dollars out the door, we're hoping that people will give gifts to the foundation so that we can grow the endowments, and then we in turn can grant more to the area, to the groups in the county.
So are you the one that gets to call them up and say, we just looked at your grant and you get the money?
Well, I do.
Okay, that's got to be exciting.
It is.
I guess the reaction is always really good.
Yes, it is. People are excited to know that they have that funding so that that project that they put their heart and soul in is going to be able to fly.
Susan, these granting, without giving away what may be granted this year, because we're still in that process of deciding, what are some of the grants that maybe have gone out in years past so people have an idea of what these grants are for?
One that comes to mind last year is the Dubois County Special Olympics, and we funded them to take their group to Terre Haute for the Special Olympic Games,
Okay.
and that those individuals go at no cost to them or their families, and that's through this grant that we were able to provide for them. That's one example.
Okay. I guess some grants are more human related and some may be actual structure or facilities that need to be added to
Right.
make better.
Northwood Good Samaritan was adding a project for the vitality of their residents, so they wanted funding for some treadmills and things that would help them, and they received a grant last year.
So nonprofits out there may be thinking, well, I don't know if we'd really qualify for a grant. You don't know unless you try.
Well,
Is that
that's
right?
it, exactly right. And I encourage all nonprofits to put in an application next year when the cycle begins. We will advertise it in all the news media so they can be aware of it.
Okay. And is there anything else that you'd like to add about the granting, other than it's really fun?
It is really fun. And I think it's amazing that $8.5 million has gone back into Dubois County since the inception of the Community Foundation. And also, if there are any questions, you can go to our website, www.dccommunityfoundation.org. Visit us at 600 McCrillis Street or call 482-5295.
Okay, and one final question. I guess a grant also can be a scary thing to write for some of these nonprofit organizations, because it's sometimes just a handful of people.
Right.
Is there help that they can get in learning how to write a grant?
Right. We had a workshop this year kind of explaining how to write a really good grant proposal. Ed Tolucci on our grants committee was the person that was behind that, and we're always willing to help. So if anyone has a question, call the office and we'll be sure to give them the help they need.
Okay, Susan, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Our guest on WJTS in.form has been Susan McGovren. She is the Program Associate for the Dubois County Community Foundation. Always doing great work, and I hope they continue to do so. Susan, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.